the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Don't forget I got memories, dead stain the whole room if I let him bleed. Shit was dark, I let this little light of
man. Just know it's like a 10-minute song, bro. I could play this joint. I could play this joint all fucking. I could play this joint like 2 more times, bro. Hold on 1 second. I'm about to send it to you right now. Here you go. It should work like this. Alright. If that don't work, let me know, cause I could text it to you. Damn, I had to cut that joint off. Oh man, I had to cut that joint off. All right. Here we go. Welcome back to another episode of the Trap or Die podcast. Everybody's still filing in. Taking their precious time to join the show tonight. Let's get the administrative things out of the way. Administrative Twitch, you know, if you are watching and you like the content, all that good stuff, you like everything that's going on, make sure you are following if you are not. This is a followers only chat. And we appreciate all the conversations, all the dialogue, all the discussions, things like that. And yeah, you can always contribute. You can always be a part of the show. You can even call in when we have the call-ins and stuff like that. Just make sure you're following the Twitch channel, my Twitch channel, things like that. YouTube. If you are watching, if you are not subscribed and you like the content, you find yourself keep coming back to the channel somehow. I don't know how you do it, but if you keep coming back and you like the content, excuse me, make sure you go ahead, hit that like and subscribe. Same thing with the podcast. If you find yourself listening to the podcast and you find yourself not following, but you like the content, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you rate and review us, man. It takes 2 seconds to do it. Takes 2 seconds. And secondly, last thing that's new administrative, I'm gonna be doing this for a couple more shows. I am doing a giveaway. I did one giveaway in August to start the preseason of sorts. I'm gonna be doing another one for everybody, man, who while we did that to start the season and you know, get everybody involved. This is another one just to show my appreciation, man. We do have subscribers who's been messing with the content, man. I truly appreciate the subscribers. Appreciate everybody who's following, because everybody, like, subscribes aren't mandatory. It's not a requirement. I don't ask for them. They're always appreciated, man. And in the ways that you all show y'all support, I'm gonna try and reciprocate that same thing, right? So I am doing a subscribers only giveaway, and I think I'm going to settle on Amazon. I will be doing some giveaways in that regard. So give it like a week or two, and we'll make it official. But it's definitely going to be a giveaway. This one is going to be subscribers to our subscribers, or to my subscribers, and things like that. So like I said, as always, man, y'all don't have to tune in. Y'all don't have to listen. Y'all don't even have to give me a minute of your time, and y'all choose to do it. So with that being said, we are where we are. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm just looking forward to give back to the people that support me. So yeah, there's that. Now we talk some Washington football. And this is a game day preview with the Kansas City Chiefs and Washington football team. But ladies and gentlemen, we gotta keep it real. We haven't talked Washington football here in a couple of days, and so much has happened in so little time. It ain't our fault that we can't just talk about football. Like, we have to talk about a ton of things, and I'm gonna try and make it brief, because tonight we do have Marlow Ferguson of Sports Illustrated. He covers the Chiefs. He's gonna be checking in, doing the preview for the Kansas City Chiefs on the Chiefs side. Everything you need to know, everything we need to know about what's going on with the 2021 Kansas City Chiefs. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, For those who aren't aware, of the situations that's going on, I guess I don't even know where to start, right? Because there's just so much congestion. It's a lot of things going on right now, and I guess I'll just start with the first thing that happened today. Today we are recording, we are streaming on Thursday, October 14th. And today, everybody in the world, in the football world, in the football community, in the NFL community, who's knee deep in it, not a casual, they know who the hell Sean Taylor is. They know. Sleezo, you're in the chat. For those who don't know, Sleezo is an Eagles fan. Sleezo, who is Sean Taylor to you? Like, what did he mean to you? What's going on, Jarian? So Sleezo, talk to me about Sean Taylor. He's an Eagles fan. I guarantee you he had something to say about a guy that wasn't even on his team, but he respected. But Sean Taylor today, there was an announcement that his jersey is going to get retired in the upcoming game against the Chiefs. For those who don't know, this Chiefs game is the homecoming. What's going on, y'all? This is Jamal, man. And listen, this is just a reminder. If you do appreciate the content, if you do enjoy the discussions, if you enjoy the videos, all that good stuff, man, hit that subscription button. We truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate it, man. We're just trying to grow out here, and support goes a long way. It's as simple as hitting that subscribe and that like button. Comment if you wish, man. Truly appreciate it. I ain't gonna hold you. Go ahead, get back to the show. See you later. Game for the Washington football team, or alumni weekend, things like that, for the Washington football team. And they announced that today, this morning, like around 9 or 10 o'clock. And Twitter, social media blew the hell up. It blew up. Cesar says he's a top three safety in his opinion. He said when he was in Maryland, he was loved by so many people. He definitely was the GOAT when he was number 36 and when he wore 21. It is like Sleezo again, Eagles fan. Comments right there. He knew what Sean Taylor was. So the news that came out today about Sean Taylor's jersey getting retired was news by everybody. Like, everybody had no idea his jersey was getting retired. Not a soul outside of the Washington football organization knew that his jersey was getting retired today. That upset so many people, man. That upset a ton of people. It pissed a ton of people off. And the only reason why I don't really want to talk about it too much, but it's like I feel like I have to say something. Not like it's not an obligation, but it's like if I'm not, I can't just sweep it under the rug. I can't do that part, right? So everybody was upset about it. Mostly everybody. What kind of annoyed me was seeing people on Twitter upset at the people who were mad that they were just told about his jersey retirement 3 days before the game. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna tell you all something, why this is a significant issue, or why this was a significant issue in the moment this morning. Let me go ahead and try and find my, hopefully it is. All right, so look, earlier this morning, again, people were complaining and stuff like that at the people who were upset with the Washington football team. When you see somebody that you love who was tragically killed, and that you love and that you loved like for a long time, who was tragically killed, and he played for your favorite team, you have so much love for him, your disdain for the team can still exist. You can still hate this team to this day. Like, I know somebody who literally today, I lie to you not, I went to my trainer, I swear to God, he used to be it's two of them. One of them used to be a Redskins fan. He quit in 2011, right before the RG3 era. He quit, but he still knew Sean Taylor. I got to them today. He said, bro, what's going on with the Sean Taylor thing? He was mad, and he stopped fucking with them 10 years ago. So when you tell a whole community of people 3 days in advance that his jersey is getting retired today, there was people across the country, all over the country, who would have loved to be in attendance regardless of how they felt about the team right now. Ton of Washington football fans that would have loved to be a part of this instance, a part of this moment, and they weren't awarded that opportunity. They weren't given that opportunity. So for me, let me see if I can find it right quick, because I did do a lot of tweeting today. All right, here we go. I found it. All right. So again, Washington football team announced it today on the 14th that his jersey was going to get retired on the 17th of the same month. Brett Favre, his jersey retired in November of 2015 for the Green Bay Packers. They announced the retirement date back in April of 2015 that year. And truth be told, they actually announced it in 2014. Like, they announced that a long time ago. I just pulled up the article, but I did some research. They announced that thing a year in advance that it was getting retired. Steve McNair and Eddie George of the Tennessee Titans, their jersey was retired in September, I think 2018. They announced the date in June, as late as June of 2018. Peyton Manning, his jersey was retired in October. I think this was 2019. They announced the date as late as May. LaDainian Tomlinson, I believe his was 2018 as well. Now, I may be wrong on the year, but my dates, I have the tweet right here. But the jersey was retired in November. They announced the date as late as June. There's a reason why they're doing that, everybody. There's a reason why situations like this are announced so far out. It allows people to have that proper time. It allows people to have the proper planning, situations, whatever they got to get set up. The Washington football team found another way to rob their fan base yet again. And this is not the first time. This won't be the last time. This is the millionth time already, and they'll have 1,000,001. I think what's going on, and to your point, Schlezo, you mentioned the Gruden situation. We all know the Gruden situation is fucked up. Like, for those who don't know, John Gruden, the brother of Jay Gruden, who actually was the coach here in Washington, just said he said a whole bunch of things, racist, homophobic, misogynistic, everything under the umbrella of how bad you can be was him in writing. That was him. But back to the point, right? It all coincides because the timing of the announcement, it dawned on me as I was taking my shower after the training. So the timing of the announcement is very skeptical, and I don't think I think it's like they've always had this in plan. For everybody who understand, they did have this planned. They had the whole situation planned, but they made no announcement. Like, they've reached out to Ryan Clark of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who used to play for the Washington Redskins. They reached out to him to gauge his interest, on returning for the alumni weekend. They said they planned on honoring Sean Taylor. Note, they did not say we planned on retiring his jersey. They did not say that to what's his name? Ryan Clark. Sorry. They didn't say that part to him. They reached out to Brian Mitchell. They didn't say anything about retiring his jersey. They talked to a couple other people. They never announced or never talked about retiring his jersey. And this is where everything kind of coincides with the timing and allegations and things like that. It may possibly, this is me talking and me speculating and what dawned on me after my workout. Now, while they may have planned on honoring Sean Taylor, and they've been talking about this for at least 3 months, like, that may be the case, right? I don't think, like, after all the news came out with the Washington Football Leaks, the emails and things like that, I don't think they had any intention on retiring the jersey until this week. That's the only thing that I think changed. I think that they always planned on honoring Sean Taylor. I just don't think that they planned on retiring the jersey. I think what the jersey retirement was supposed to do was to build up excitement and relief for Sean Taylor. That's what it was supposed to do. Everybody was supposed to be excited. Everybody was supposed to be elated. Everybody was supposed to feel some type of way, a positive feeling about Sean Taylor. And then, like we always know, like we always come to know, like we always come to find out, Washington continues to get in their own way. Now, after that moment, when you realize that these guys then fucked up the reveal of the jersey retirement, then you go back to the people who would have been in charge of that. They airballed the layup. Thank you, BQC. They airballed the layup. Then you go back to the people who are responsible for a situation like this. Washington football team president Jason Wright, shortly after all the hoopla on social media, made a tweet. He wasn't the first person to apologize. Like the beat reporters, they got the same text message that all the beat reporters got, saying that we're sorry from the Washington side. But Jason Wright issues an apology too and says that a president's brief will come later. He says that he apologized. Matter of fact, let me bring up the tweet. Let's bring it up, because I still follow him. I'm about to unfollow, but right, hold on. Here he is. All right. So he says, "We wanted to do something long overdue by retiring players' numbers. Months ago, we planned for Bobby Mitchell and Sean Taylor to be the first two. Seeing their reaction, I'm very sorry the short notice does not properly reflect the impact that Sean had. President's brief to come." So, key words or key sentence here in this instant is months ago, we planned Bobby Mitchell and Sean Taylor to be the first two. Ladies and gentlemen, they announced that Bobby Mitchell jersey was being retired back in like June or August. Or maybe even June or July or August. One of those 3 months, July, June, or August. Pick the three. It don't matter. That's plenty of time, right? How is it that Sean Taylor doesn't get the respect from Jason Wright and whatever's under his umbrella? I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everybody under his umbrella on the business side and the marketing side, all of these things. How is it that these people don't know how much Sean Taylor meant to everybody? How is it that they don't know that Sean Taylor, and these aren't like my prophetic words. This isn't me right here. Sean Taylor, though, like that was the last thing that the fans had. Like, no matter how bad the team was doing, no matter how good the team was doing, they will always come together for Sean Taylor. How do you fuck that up? You supposed to know this thing. You supposed to know that one thing. How do you fuck that part up? That's kind of what baffles me, man. So, and that's kind of why I kind of bring it back to the investigation side, the John Gruden, the emails, things like that. I think it was a ploy that backfired. I think whatever it is that they're trying to use Sean's jersey at, like whatever it is, I don't know, or maybe they're trying to take heat away from people or in the organization or the team or the owner, whatever it is, they used Sean Taylor in this moment, and it was a terrible idea. It was a terrible idea. They aren't wrong to do it for homecoming, which is stupid, by the way. I thought they got rid of the homecoming term, but in their announcement to the media, they use homecoming, which is like incredible. But they're not wrong to do it on this week. Like, let's make that clear. They're not wrong to do it on this week. Like, it's nothing wrong with that. As we all are saying, it's timing. So, Jerry, and that's what Jason Wright was doing. He issued an apology, but he also he just kind of fucked this whole thing up, bro. He fucked the whole thing up. Now I'm not saying he's the only person to deal with it, but your whole team on the business side, Jason Wright, I'm saying, not the actual Washington football team, but Jason Wright's whole team had an opportunity to get this right. You had plenty of people to kind of discuss this thing with, to work things through, to even talk to the alumni, to talk to the people that's going to be returning, and you just messed it up. You messed it up. All right, hold on 1 second. Okay, so let me see. Hold on 1 second. I think they are. Oh, they can't get in. Oh, damn. Damn. Okay, so they can't even get in. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm over here rapping to y'all, and I ain't even check my text messages. All right. Don't mind me, bro. I gotta get these guys in the chat. I mean, in the Zoom link. That's all. Yeah. All right. Get back to it. Hey, Dre is hilarious. Dre's in here this whole time. Just know I'm sitting here talking. I'm talking to the chat, telling them that I didn't see it. I just sent y'all the email. So yeah, 650,000 emails and only Gruden goes down. Fall guy Chris Carter approves. 650,000 emails. Look, they have a process with this thing, man. I don't think it's gonna stop no time soon. I just think it's gonna be a long process. I think if Dan Snyder was a guy who kind of thought that, you know, he was gonna get away with this whole process, like, I think the only thing that this does is put heat on the NFL and Dan Snyder. Like John Gruden getting in trouble. You kind of only you wonder exactly what else is out there. And I don't think that doesn't. I think it actually puts more heat on Dan if he thought that was going to be the reason that kind of got him off the hook. I don't think that's going to be the case. Drake, man, I just saw y'all goddamn text messages. I had a feeling when I started, bro. I was like, hold on, because this it shouldn't take this. Oh, here go AJ too. Boom. They shouldn't take this long. Okay. Boom. All right, so we got everybody in here. Yeah, Allen is done for sure. Allen actually had Jarian, they had a LA Times article. I was catching up with Kevin Sheehan's podcast, so I got to give him credit for this one. And he was talking about what Bruce Allen was saying in the emails with or at least some insight into what he was saying, but it wasn't much. It was just agreeing with some things that let me transition the scene. He was just agreeing with some things that John Gruden said about Roger Goodell. She called him a pussy. And then Michael Sam, in which he confirmed that Jeff Fisher should have never drafted Michael Sam. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. I got AJ and Dre. These guys had they requested leave 2 weeks ago, so that's kind of why they weren't here this week. You know what I'm saying? So now the fellas are back. But AJ, Dre, how y'all feeling tonight? Everything good with y'all?
Yeah, man, great. Everything good.
All right. So yeah, don't mind me. You know, I was telling Dre, AJ, that I just got y'all text like 5 minutes ago. I had no idea y'all was locked out until I looked down. I was like, hold on, bro. It's been 20 minutes. I'm still sitting here talking about this shit, and they ain't in here yet. But okay, all right. So yeah, fellas, we have again Marlow Ferguson checking in, but I do want to get y'all thoughts as much as y'all can. I'm gonna get the floor to y'all because I spoke on the Sean Taylor thing to the degree in which I did. I just felt like on my side, I felt like the people who were kind of downplaying the situation really don't understand like how much Sean Taylor meant to a lot of people. And they would have been naive to think that people wouldn't have wanted to show up. I got people in the chat now saying that they would have shown up and they were contemplating it, but things wouldn't allow them. So, fellas, I'm gonna get the floor to y'all. There's a ton of things that you can talk about this week, but whatever's on your mind about the team, even if it's football related and you just want to just sweep whatever under the rug, the floor is you all's. And yeah, so I'm gonna stop talking so we can get this out the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Sean Taylor thing is pretty tough for me, man, because it's like that's how I really kind of got my start in sports business in general. You know, working with him, Clinton Portis and Santana Moss, Three Kings. We did several initiatives in DC, supporting underprivileged kids, things of that nature. I knew that they had planned on retiring his jersey because I just so happened to run into Tim Hightower who is kind of from the same area as me, and he runs the like alumni side of things for Washington football team. And he told me that was happening, but I didn't know when the date of it was happening. I think for me, man, he's one of the bigger sports figures in DC ever. So it's like if you're going to retire his number, and there's very limited numbers that have been retired within the franchise history. You know, Darryl Green, who personally calls himself the greatest Redskin of all time, you know, he doesn't even have his jersey number retired. You would think that they would go about this a bit differently. For me, I don't want to say it was a PR stunt. I just think that a lot of the people that are within the organization don't understand the impact that Sean Taylor had on this community and also the franchise, because a lot of them are new faces, they're transplants, they're people that either used to work for previous teams or the Carolina Panthers. They really don't understand everything full scope. They're thinking from the aspect of watching the football team and not Washington Redskins, you know, and just overall what this guy really meant and the tragedy of his death. I think at this point, man, they could rectify the situation by pushing it back to the Monday Night Football game against the Seattle Seahawks. That's a perfect platform from a PR standpoint, from a standpoint of Sean Taylor's family and Mr. Taylor, you know, and his kid, his ex-wife, well, his widow, but I mean, she's remarried, Jackie, all of those things. I think it'd be best to just go ahead and move it to the Monday night game and do Sean this huge favor. You know, it's a pretty big fucking deal. That's why a lot of people are getting upset. And I don't think they had anything to necessarily do with the emails or divert attention away from what else is going on. I just think that they just fucking fumbled like they typically do with a lot of things and just didn't realize the scope of this and how big of a deal it would be to the fan base, how people would want to be present and things of that nature to take in this moment. And on top of that, how do you only make 10,000 towels? Like that's insane to me, you know? Like really take this all in and embrace the moment, because honestly, he is the one last figure that this franchise has that would encourage players, especially in free agency, to even want to come to Washington. He's the last real superstar that this team has had in 2 decades.
Not wrong. Not wrong, bro.
Yeah, I actually I agree with AJ on a lot of that, especially, you know, about what Sean Taylor meant to the fan base. He was my favorite player ever. Like I was pretty young, you know, in that early 20s, late teen stage when Sean Taylor was drafted here in 2004. And I wanted him. That was a guy I was really hoping we would draft. I remember the talk going into the draft was you're going to either go with Kellen Winslow or you're going to go with Sean Taylor. Those are the two guys talk pre-draft the whole time. But me watching, I was a Florida State fan. I'm still a Florida State fan. But
I had to clarify.
Yeah, I had to clarify. Being a Florida State fan, we played against Miami every year, as you know, in the rivalry game. And Sean Taylor would just be the one guy that stood out every time. And he was the guy that I wanted us to draft. And I was so ecstatic when we drafted him. And, you know, I was in this corner, and as AJ was talking about how big of a superstar he was, the funny thing is, looking back on that time, a lot of my fan base didn't even appreciate Sean Taylor back then. You know, I can only imagine what the talk on Twitter would be about him today. You know, oh, he missed a tackle, or, oh, he blew this assignment. But Sean Taylor was a beast. He was, you know, he did his job, and he was a superstar. But again, with the new regime coming in, a lot of them probably don't understand what he meant to a lot of this fan base, like AJ said, to allude to what he was saying. And Jason Wright, for me, I know this is probably more on his end than anyone else's because he handles the marketing and the business side of things. He seems like a really transparent guy, and I think he may have been a little tone deaf. I think the whole franchise and organization may have been a little tone deaf with this whole situation, but I will give them a little leeway just because Jason Wright hasn't been here long. He seems like a guy that doesn't want to make these kind of mistakes. You know, he seems like a guy that wants to fix these type of things and the miscommunication amongst the fan base and everything. But this was a blunder. I mean, you have to chalk it up as that, and they deserve the critique for what the fans are going through. I mean, me personally, I'm not too, big into this type of stuff these days as far as what's going on outside of the field. But I get why most of the fan base is upset about that. It was a blunder, but I think Jason Wright, I think he deserves a little bit more, leeway because this is his first year. He's picking up for a very toxic situation that his predecessor, Bruce Allen, left behind. So, and he came out with his apology, and I think he's going to do well going forward. And I do agree with AJ that this is something they probably should push back to the Monday night game to get everyone involved in this situation.
Yeah, I'm in that same space with you in the sense that doesn't bother me personally. Like, I'm not upset, but I feel for the people who really, because I'll tell you that right now. I wasn't going to that goddamn game. I'm not going to that.
Me either.
Like, I don't care, but I feel for the people.
And I even I even invited Maul to the game.
You definitely did.
Sunday. I didn't even know that the jersey was getting retired this particular Sunday. I knew that it was happening, but I didn't know what actual date. So that's crazy. Like, without a doubt, I would be there in advance. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. This shit is just wild.
It is, man. Let's go ahead and talk some football. So we're gonna go ahead and bring in Marlow. Marlow Ferguson covers the Chiefs for the Sports Illustrated. So we're gonna take an ad break right quick, and we'll be right back. Hey, we working out here. Come on with it. All right, here we go. So we have the good man Marlow Ferguson joining in with the Trap or Die podcast. Marlow again covers the Kansas City Chiefs for Sports Illustrated and also covers the NBA and WNBA as well. I believe for Medium, if my math is correct. I said my math, if my memory is correct. But Marlow checking in. Marlow, how you feeling tonight, boss? Everything good with you?
Everything's good, man. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, no
Yes,
problem,
sir.
man. Hey, appreciate you checking in on late notice. I know our guy Jordan, he recommended you when I reached out to him. I know his schedule is kind of busy, so if he gives a recommendation, I know it's probably a good look, man. So appreciate you checking in on late notice. But let's go ahead and talk some Chiefs, man. So first thing first, the Chiefs are 2-3. That's pretty unexpected at this point. Everybody knows the Chiefs as the juggernaut. Which, I mean, they still are on offense. Everybody knows them as the juggernaut, so it's like it's hard to beat them. But they got the 3 L's so far this season. If we can get an overview from you, 5 games in for the Kansas City Chiefs, who exactly is this team 5 games into the season?
I think for the most part, everything's been a little bit of an overreaction. You know what I'm saying? We got people wondering if Patrick Mahomes' contract is worth it, if the title window is closing, and this is just a team that's on a 1-game losing streak. So, that being said, there are definitely problems. On the Ref and the Kicker podcast, they talked about them having like the 7th worst DVOA of all time, like defensively. So that's a problem. But at the same time, they're getting everybody's best shot. Teams are trying to emulate what they do offensively. So they're just a few plays away from being, 5-0, 4-1. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in the future and going forward.
Absolutely. So the Chiefs, so that's kind of actually, you had mentioned one thing about the opponents. As bad as the Chiefs defense is, I was reading an article earlier today saying that the issues, stems from the coaches and players is actually kind of similar to what Washington is going through when it comes to like communications and just breakdowns and coverages. But is it possible to be like it's the case of who they've played so far? Because they've played quite a few worthy opponents. Obviously the Bills, the Chargers, the Ravens, a really good, strong running team, and a few other really good offenses at least to this point. Is it possible that it's because of the case of who they played so far, or is it something where the issues are actually a little bit deeper than just the opponent?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. If you look at their combined records, the teams they played are combined 17-8. So we're looking at some very good teams that have Super Bowl aspirations. Like I said, they're getting everybody's best shot right now. So I'm more concerned about where this team's going to be in December as opposed to where they are now. And they've got a chance to build their confidence up. I hate to say it, on Sunday against Washington and that defense. So we'll see how it goes from there.
I mean, look, you're not wrong. I guess the question is like, how do you perceive? Well, I guess we'll stick to the defense because I think, or Kansas City Chiefs defense, excuse me. Before we switch to the offense, because I do have a question about how you all look at Washington in a few areas. But how are they surviving on that side of the football when we're talking about Kansas City Chiefs defense? I mean, because outside of the Bills game, you've been, I mean, technically in the Bills game, you've been a part of it, but outside of the Bills game, score-wise, it's been all close ball games. What are some of the small successes that the defense have had to this point? You had to come back against the Cleveland Browns. You made a few plays. The Chargers game, I wasn't able to take a look at that one from here and there. I just saw a few turnovers from the Chiefs offense, but from the defensive standpoints, how are you all able to stay in the games? What has been the key or the small successes for that side of the ball?
I think it starts with the coaching staff. They're just making quick adjustments. And I look back at that Buffalo Bills game after the big rain delay. They came out and forced 3 straight punts. So I think it's just a matter of a lack of urgency from them. Like they come out of the games. Most games they play, they start off slow, get behind double digits, and then they kind of rely on Mahomes to work his magic. And lately they've done that. So that's going to be one of the big things going forward is just getting out to better starts, getting teams off the field on third down, and coming up big on those big plays that end the game.
For Tyrann Mathieu, he said that miscommunications have consumed the Chiefs' defensive side of the football, which is causing so many problems for that unit. In your eyes, do you think that the issues of miscommunication is a quick fix? Is it quickly correctable for whatever those miscommunications may be? Like, have they even described them in the media, like what those miscommunications could be? Or is this something that it may take a little bit longer than just a film session and a quick discussion with the players and the coaches?
I would say so. They've had a lot of moving parts on defense. They've welcomed in a lot of new guys. And they're getting guys back. Willie Gay's coming back. He just came back this week, and he's going to bring them a different level of athleticism. I think when they get Juan Thornhill back into the fix and are able to sub him out with Sorensen a little bit more, it's going to make for a better defense. So historically, this has been the way the Chiefs have gone. They've had struggles to start the year off, and then they get hot later in the year. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they're able to do that again this year.
So you're saying that on your side, you're saying that you think that it is a quick fix for the Chiefs. I was trying.
Yeah, I would say quicker than usual.
Okay.
They've got a couple of games to Green Bay, so I think they'll be able to get it going.
Okay, all right. So how do you anticipate the Chiefs defense covering the Washington football team's offense? Obviously, I mean we score points. The Washington football team does. But in terms of yardage, they're still like 20th in the NFL at this point. But at the same time, they can put up some points. How do you anticipate the Chiefs attacking Taylor Heineke and Scott Turner offensively? So what would you say about that one?
Hopefully it starts with mixing Chris Jones back in the inside. But I think the big focus is definitely going to be on Terry McLaurin. I actually had a stat that I was looking up earlier about how the Chiefs struggle to get teams out the field on third and whatever. Like the Washington football team, they're not very good at third downs. They're 31st in the league, but the Chiefs just as bad at forcing third downs. If you watch the Chiefs game, it's usually first and whatever, second and whatever, and then it's back to first down. They're not able to get teams to third downs. So that's going to be big, trying to get them into those situations and bringing the heat and forcing Taylor Heineke to use that arm strength, which I'm a little worried about. So I think it's going to be a situation to do that.
Well, what is your idea, like your perception? I've been asking, I think probably about 3 weeks now, I've been asking people who come on just like their perception of Taylor Heineke from an outsider's perspective, just your general opinion. I won't ask a leading question. I'll just leave it at that. What is your opinion from an outsider's perspective, who Taylor Heineke is in the NFL?
I love his competitiveness. Like the way he plays, he makes big plays. And I don't think that he's a long-term starter. I think because of that lack of arm strength, it kind of limits what he's able to do. But for the time being, I think he can definitely take this team, I won't say to the playoffs, but they were a team that they can go get you 6-7 wins a season and go about it like
Jesus
that. I don't think
6-7 wins. Oh Lord. Oh no. Okay.
AJ won't like that. AJ don't like
Nah, not at
that.
all.
AJ don't even see 3 wins with this man. Oh man. And we got what? We got 12 more games left. Okay. All right. Okay, so just one more thing for the defensive side of the football, some X factors. You said Chris Jones, you mentioned him. Is there anybody outside of because Chris Jones, Frank Clark, y'all got some boys up there. I think, did Chris Jones play last week? Because I know Frank Clark was active, but Chris Jones was dealing with an injury, correct?
Yeah, he didn't play last week.
Okay, what's the status looking like for him against the Washington football team?
I think he's going to play because Andy Reid said in the press conference, he said they had a lot of guys that, we're going to practice today, but later in the week they would be able to get into it. So I think he's going to be a go for Nick.
Okay, so
Jones. If I could
yep.
chime in real quick, Marlow, with you covering the team, don't you find it weird that they moved Chris Jones from being a D tackle to a DN within this defense?
I think so. I think if we were going to do that, it made more sense to kind of mix him in and out. But they've just kept him on the edge like for most of the game, from what I can tell. So if you're going to do that, I think it's smarter to have him play a variety of different areas, just because he's been so good in the inside for so long. But going forward, I think they're going to look at that and see if they can get him back on the inside.
So you think if he does end up suiting up Sunday, that he will play majority of his snaps in the interior or on the outside?
I'm going to say probably a mix of the two. I don't think completely experiment, but I'm going to say probably a mix and just see what's best for him.
Okay. So I guess we can go ahead and swing to the offensive side of the football. Dre or AJ, first off, Jarian is hilarious because Jarian mentioned in the chat that the landlord going to collect some rent on Sunday. It's a few fans, as you can see, it's not so high on Washington these days, especially going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. But
we aren't the Chiefs. We were the Chiefs in the 80s. So that's the problem with our fan base right now, Marlow. So, when you say things like, we may get right on Washington, a lot of our fans like that. They're not going to be pissed with you. Yeah, they like hearing you say that. People want, wholesale changes in a sense, and they want it quickly. But Marlo, I had a question on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, as explosive as the Chiefs are this year, they do have a tendency to give the ball up a lot. What do you all kind of attribute that to?
I think it's just Mahomes kind of pressing a little bit, understanding that there's a magic number in terms of what they need to get. If they get 30 points, they might not probably thinking in his head, you got to get 35, you got to get 40. So he's kind of forcing plays downfield. But he said in his press conference today or yesterday, he was saying that he was going to be more cognizant of getting the ball out to his playmakers and letting those guys go to work. So everything's just been about being disciplined and seeing what he can do as far as that goes.
And what about Josh Gordon? Could we expect to see a lot more of him this week? I mean, I know he didn't play much last week, but I mean, is that a guy that we can see this week? I'll tell you right now, he may be a guy that we let open for a touchdown in the back of the end zone.
I think he was saying about him being able to play more snaps. I think they wanted to get him 20 snaps last week, but because they had to play hurry up and we were coming back from behind, they weren't able to do that. But I thought he played really well in his first game. He had a route earlier in the game where they were supposed to keep him inside, but he adjusted it outside so that Patrick Mahomes could find him. Him being 6'3", I think is going to make a big, big impact for this team, and just his ability to understand improv and just I think it's going to be exciting.
With us touching on Josh Gordon, now being with the Kansas City Chiefs and making his debut on last Sunday, how badly does this offense need a second wide receiver, a true number two that can help take away some of that pressure from Kelsey and Tyreek Hill every Sunday?
My fantasy team wants McCole Hartman.
Yeah, I like McCole Hartman, man. I don't think he's been as bad as everyone has said. And Mahomes is kind of, he's missed them on a couple of big throws, and he's even admitted that. But I think the big thing is just the mentality he's going to bring to this team. It's going to make everybody else work harder, stay on their game, and just give them a change of pace. You know what I'm saying? He's be able to go downfield, middle of the field. He plays so effortlessly too. So he doesn't have to be Cleveland Josh Gordon. He could be New England Josh Gordon, Seattle Josh Gordon. And as long as they get that, I think good things are going to happen for him.
Okay. All right. So we got Josh Gordon out the way. Patrick Mahomes, man, he's the second leading rusher on the team for the Chiefs. 23 carries, 153 yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I believe, is on IR right now. And now with the running game, and you can correct me if I'm wrong with this statement, but now with the running game taking a few step backs, probably for some time, could Pat be feeling some pressure? And this is an opinionated question, but could Pat be feeling some pressure to kind of put the team entirely on his shoulders? Like you already mentioned about like how he plays in some instances that kind of created the turnovers, but how does he feel in terms of just understanding that now the running game may not be there? He's already the second leading rusher. What more does he have to do, type of thing? What's your opinion on that?
I got a lot of opinions on that, and I mean, it starts with the way the defenses are playing them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to run cover 2 or they're going to keep guys back. I think he understands that. And they talked about it last week. The Bills didn't blitz him a single time. So him understanding that, he's able to, they're rushing 3 guys at him and keeping 8 guys in coverage. So it's going to make a situation where he's able to, use his feet, get out of the pocket, make some plays like that. But I think on the flip side of that, the Chiefs' offensive line is really good in the interior. Creed Humphrey, he's the number 1 Pro Football Focus center in the league. They've got Joe Tooney, he's able to play. Trey Smith, so they got some. So I think it's just a matter of them staying patient and letting the game come to them instead of forcing it.
That offensive line, because you mentioned it, and it's kind of crazy that you mentioned the interior because, I mean, right now, obviously the edge rushers, we all know Sweat, we all know Chase Young, but the interior for Washington has been creating a ton of pressure and creating, at least causing havoc. I wish I pulled up the sack number so I can really look at it. But point being is the interior side for the Chiefs was kind of the question mark for them in the offseason, just the offensive line in general. At this point, you only gave up 7 sacks in the season. That's like the 5th or 6th fewest in the NFL, which is extremely impressive considering where they were a year ago. In a collective standpoint, you mentioned the interior. How are they looking overall? Is this something that's sustainable for the actual season, the rest of the season?
I think it's going to be sustainable. You look at a guy like Orlando Brown Jr., he's a tackle. He's had to make a big transition from playing from a run-heavy team in Baltimore to having to jump to a pass-heavy team in Kansas City. So with everything, I'm kind of just looking at where they're going to be in December instead of where they are now. And I actually got those sack numbers you were talking about. It says the Washington football blitz, I think, at the 6th highest rate, but they only get sacks like on the 23rd highest rate. So they're going to have to work cut out for them on Sunday, but so far it hasn't been as great as we may have expected from Washington.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you got it, AJ?
I was going to say, so Marlow, it sounds like you're not really worried that this team may not make the playoffs this year. It seems like you're pretty optimistic of their chances.
Yeah, this team has too much talent to miss the playoffs. And I think that, the addition of a 7th wildcard spot is definitely going to make for it. It's going to be some competition, especially in their own division because the Chargers are off to a great start.
You get the Raiders goodbye. They about to fall off.
Yeah, Raiders are done. You can cross them off the list. Mm-hmm. The Broncos are frauds. I shouldn't say frauds, but I think they aren't as good as maybe we expect.
Got off to a good start.
So, got off to a good start, but because of the schedule they played, I think they were like 0-12 combined, the teams they played, or 1-11, something like that. So I want to see them beat a bona fide team before I jump on that bandwagon. But definitely competitive in the AFC, but I think the Chiefs are going to take advantage of the upcoming schedule and they're going to get back into it. They're going to be 5-3 heading into Green Bay, and so we'll see how that goes.
Okay. So Jarian had a couple comments. Just speaking on your side of the ball, he said he was excited to see more Williams running the ball, but he also mentioned Trey Smith. He likes how Trey Smith drifts with Mahomes and continues to block when Mahomes drifts. I guess, do you have a particular opinion on Smith himself and just how he's meshed with Mahomes and how his play style is? Because Mahomes' play style is erratic, not in a bad way. It's just like he's a playmaker back there. So what's your opinion on how those two are working together?
I'm thinking it's great so far. For Smith to be a 6th-round pick and to be able to step in this way, I think it's been really good. And at the same time,
he lagged out. Oh, all right. Well, we know Marlow's gonna probably come back through the Zoom link, but AJ and Dre on our side for Washington. Let's get our side of the preview out the way while we wait on Marlow. But fellas, what is why? Oh, he's already back. All right, here we go. All right.
Sorry about that.
Nah, you good. I think we were on Trey Smith and just the cohesion with he and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. So as I was saying, just how violent he is as a pass blocker, as a run blocker, I think it's definitely going to bode well for him going forward. And just as you mentioned, the fact that these guys have to hold their blocks so long in the way the Chiefs play, I think it's been admirable for how they've done as first year players. And so Derek McKinnon, Daryl Williams, it's going to be fun to see how that works out.
All right. So let's get to it. Who wins and why? We kind of know where you're going. We know what it is. You're not gonna hurt our feelings. Tell us, let us know how bad does it get for Washington in your eyes?
That's the question. Is it one touchdown? Is it two? I'm gonna say I actually think Washington's gonna keep it competitive if they're able to stay on the field on third downs. I think Terry McLaurin is gonna be licking his chops for this one. So if I had to put a score to it, I'd say definitely bet the over. Absolutely bet the over whenever the Chiefs play.
That Sunday night.
I'll say maybe Chiefs 38, Washington football team 27. I give you 27.
Okay.
Hey, look, as long as that over hit, you know what I'm saying? I'm a happy man.
Is that the over? Oh, what's that, 65? What's the over, like 55?
The over is like 50. I got it at 55 and a half.
That's kind of low. That's lower than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like around 58, 59, 60.
Oh, it's crazy. It opened up at 50 and a half.
You got two bad defense. Two bad defenses playing each other. I thought you would have a higher over.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's
giving up.
It's
4.
All right. Hey, Marlow, we definitely appreciate you, boss, man. Before we get up out of here, again, because I late notice, man, you didn't hesitate to take it and talk to Washington football and the Kansas City Chiefs with us. Let the people know where they can find you, read, and hear from you if you do have a podcast going on.
Sure. I'm on Twitter at Marlow Ferg, MELOFERG. I write for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm at SB Nation for the Portland Trail Blazers, and I do a little bit of everything. So if you're a fan of versatility.
So you a Dame Lillard guy. You writing for Portland. Okay, big Dame. All right. I always respect Dame. Big Oakland guy. So, Bay Area.
That loyalty he's got, man.
Do you be downloading his rap albums?
A little bit. I at first, but his last album was really good. I give him that. Usually rap athletes are kind of corny, but this time around it's actually kind of good.
Shaq was probably one of the better ones to do it if I can recall. Maybe y'all can help me out with that one, AJ and Dre. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the
Shaq might have been one.
Yeah,
they ain't trying to act like we 50 years old.
Hey, look.
I know, Jamal like 4 or 5 years younger.
Any chance I get, you know what I'm saying? I got get that out there. But okay. All right. So yeah, Marlow, hey, be safe, my man. Enjoy the game tonight. And then good luck on. I think we need the luck. So I guess we'll talk on Sunday. All right, big dog. You be safe, man.
You too. Thank you, guys.
All right. All right. Okay, cool. So that was Marlow, everybody, man. Make sure y'all go ahead and give him a follow if you are on Twitter. Fellas, keys to a Washington win. We can start with, I'm going to give it the open floor again. AJ, you got the floor. What's the keys to a Washington win? What do they need to do to kind of upset the Kansas City Chiefs?
The keys to a Washington win is making sure that the Kansas City Chiefs can't board their plane. That is the keys to a Washington win for this Sunday.
Hey, look, all right, we gotta try. Okay, we gotta try.
All right. If you want me to be serious, I really don't know. This team definitely can't even defend Deontay Harris, Emmanuel Sanders, Cordell Patterson, even a 75% Tyreek Hill is extremely scary. And then talk about Travis Kelce, running all through the middle of the field, getting open. They stand no chance in my books of winning this game because they do not have the scheme to defend the talents of a Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill or Patrick Mahomes, who can create outside of the pocket and within the pocket. I don't see any way that they can win.
Look, where are we at? AJ and Dre, what's the percent chance that Washington has to have a chance to win at the end of the game? Like, what's the percentage at in your head right now?
-30.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
They stand no chance.
Dre, what's the percentage, man? Because I got some good news for Washington fans. What's the percent chance for you?
I would have to put it around 18%, between 15 and 20% chance that Washington wins the game. And I agree with AJ. It's just the defense hasn't inspired any confidence that they can hang with anybody, let alone one of the most explosive offenses the league has seen in the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, Chiefs, that's their strength. The reason why they lose games is because they face teams like Buffalo or a Baltimore that can kind of compete with them, defensively to offensively type of matchup. And they also have a little bit of offense. Now, the Chiefs defense is historically bad at the moment. They'll probably get right on us, but I mean, even still, we may score like 20, we may even score 30 points from the Chiefs, but I don't have no confidence in our defense to stop them from scoring 40 plus because, I mean, everyone else is scoring 30 plus on us this year to start the season, it seems like. But, I mean, if we want to be serious and talk about chances that you have of winning, you have to force some turnovers. I mean, the defense has to get, you have to get the defensive line has to get to Patrick Mahomes at some point. They have to make Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable in this game. Chase Young has to make plays. Like, they took baby steps last week, and it's sad to say that baby steps are all we're counting on with this defense, but that's not what we were looking forward to at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, we thought this was going to be a unit that carried the team. Now we're talking about, they forced a couple of turnovers last week. Now, even though they were still embarrassing, they let up a Hail Mary pass. They still let guys open in the, downfield. We're still talking about an embarrassing defense, but at the same time, they took baby steps. And it's like those little wins we have to accept when that's not a unit we expected that from before the season. But to win this game, this unit has to be even better this week. They have to stop having the miscommunication issues. They have to, start making more plays, help your offense out, flip field position, because the Chiefs aren't good on defense. If that's a weakness that they have, is that they're not good on defense. So the offense probably will score points this week. But how many are you going to give up on defense? So I think this game stems around and revolves around what this Washington defense can do.
Man, when you said 15 to 18%, I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of, my balloon got popped because I thought I had good news. And your news is better than mine because I was at like 7. I was at like 7 or 8%. The chat Sleezo says 3%. Jarian says 1%. Good Lord. Like, all right. Look, I'm gonna just say some things. I'm gonna just go through my notes. And those who are listening, and AJ and Dre, if this changes your mind or increases your optimism, so be it. I'm just go through them all, and we're gonna leave them out there on the table, the good and the bad. So Kansas City defense, we kind of mentioned with Marlow is dealing with the same issues, miscommunication, big plays, but they also have bad tackling. Like, it's not good in that aspect. For Washington, the tackling hasn't been great the last 2 weeks. But overall, they're pretty solid in tackling from a comparison standpoint. So if you want to make plays for the Washington football team's offense, get these guys, the Kansas City Chiefs, in space. Force them to make a play on Terry McLaurin. Force them to, I don't know what the status is right now with Curtis Samuel, but you still have your boy DeAndre Carter, who's starting to grow on me, and he's starting to look like the Steven Sims that was replaced. Like, he's like, get these guys in open space along with Antonio Gibson.
He's looking like the Curtis Samuel that we hope to get out of Curtis Samuel. That's what he's looking like.
That's true. That's true. So get these guys in open space, and force them to make plays on your playmakers. Second thing is Kansas City's defense. 44% third down conversion, which is 24th in the NFL. They're also 28th in the red zone. Washington last week, unfortunately, was 2 of 5 against the New Orleans Saints, but they were facing the number 1 red zone defense. So you have opportunities to score, and you have opportunity to stay on the field. The issue is going to always come down to Washington in this aspect because they are clearly not good in certain key metrics defensively. So you have to convert from a Washington standpoint. That means Taylor Heineke being accurate. That means the people up front, no holding, create the lanes for the running backs, making sure that everybody execute. So the Chiefs also gave up 30 plus points for the 4th time in 5 games. Last year they only gave up 30 points total in 5 total games. So that's it. Take that for what you want. If you all think that can help you in some instance, hey, use that, share those stats and say, you know what, man, we got a shot. Because Pat Mahomes, you know what? He's only completing 1,500 yards, 70% completion. He got 16 touchdowns. I mean, it ain't that much. We got a shot.
But Jamal, what I was gonna say is the only reason why I gave the 15 to 18% chance, which is higher than I initially thought I would give the team. Something about that Vegas line is just fishy to me, man. Like I don't know what it is. Like that's what I keep looking at that line. Like I thought this would be a 10.5 line, and I thought this would be a 10.5 line for the Chiefs. Like remember the Bills game? They started off at a high line, but they came down because teams thought that maybe Washington would keep it competitive. But for some reason, this line is staying at around 6.5, 7 points, and it's not moving. And that's what's killing me. Like the Vegas in me.
I get it. Well, I get it. It's a head scratcher. They're begging the public to they'll take as much action as they want on the Kansas City Chiefs. I took action on the Chiefs. I took them at 6. So I don't care what they do with the 6.5 or 7. Like it's shot up to 6.5 and 7. But yes, they're begging people to take the Chiefs. For whatever reason. I don't know what we're missing, Dre. I don't know. But we'll find out Sunday. Sometimes I think the public does get things right. And I think that Vegas, if they don't shoot that thing up, I think what they don't want to do, they don't want to give the home team that 7 and 7.5. Like they don't want to give them that hook. Like I think that's kind of where the thin thing lies. That would be my guess with this thing. So I don't know. You're not wrong. You're 100% right. It scares me knowing what I know about gambling, but fuck it, I'm with the public tonight. Hey, if they lose, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? But if I lose my bet, Washington better win outright. Because I ain't losing my goddamn money and y'all losing. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the final score and the game MVP. And ladies and gentlemen, obviously, as always, make sure that you stay tuned if you're listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube. Stay tuned for Anti-Ups Consulting official pick for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Washington football team. And the up is above 500 now. They was at 500 last week, 2-2. They are 3-2 so far. Again, I always vouch for them. I know them boys. I've known them for a decade, man. They do good work, and they just started their gambling thing probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and they working heavy in it. Anti-Up Consulting. Make sure you find them on Twitter, and you can find them on Instagram as well. So, fellas, final score and game MVP.
Go ahead, AJ. What you got?
I think I got 44 to 20.
Well, okay. The over covers. All right. Okay. Who's the MVP? I already know. I think I know who it's going to be, but I got to ask it.
Yeah, it's the Chiefs.
No, the MVP.
Oh, the MVP?
Yeah.
Oh, the whole damn Kansas City.
Hey, bro.
Whole damn you team. Get a touchdown. You get a touchdown.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a alumni homecoming type of game, but not for the home team.
All I can think of is
it's right on brand with the rest of the homecomings.
Oh, bullshit. That's all I can think of. Hey, Dre, where you at?
I got 41-24 Chiefs. MVP is Patrick Mahomes because every QB that's played us has been the MVP in the game.
So Jarian says 42-21, and Mahomes is the MVP. I think. Look, it's Mahomes, man. Mahomes is definitely gonna be the MVP. If it ain't gonna be him, it's gonna be Tyreek Hill, but it's gonna be somebody throwing to him, and that's gonna be Pat Mahomes. So Pat Mahomes is the MVP in my book, and I think the score. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I forgot who I said this to on Twitter. I swear to God, like I never felt this way. I never even said this thing out loud before. I genuinely think that Kansas City will get 30.5. I think they will get 30.5. I don't know if it's gonna be the first or second half. That's what I had said. And I'm thinking we're like, it's like 40, 48, 47 to probably 31. I think Washington can get in the 30s, but it's not going to mean much. Again, Pat Mahomes is going to be the MVP, ladies and gentlemen. So I think we got a clean sweep. AJ definitely wanted to say Pat, but everybody going to get a touchdown. So he's being nice. Yep. He's being nice. Okay. So with that being said, we're out of here. Everybody enjoy your game tonight. Remember, Tampa Bay Eagles under 52.5. Bet it, because I did. But everybody go ahead and enjoy y'all night. I'll be back on Sunday, pregame and postgame. And we will talk about what we witnessed against the Kansas City Chiefs. So y'all be safe. Enjoy y'all night. And remember, giveaway coming soon. Subscribers, showing love to y'all. Appreciate y'all. All that good stuff. So, peace.
This week's Washington football team odds are presented by Ante-Up Consulting. We have the best odds and wager plays in the DMV. This week, Washington football team, 6.5-point underdogs at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to take Kansas City first half team total over 16 points. The spread is less than a touchdown, but Kansas City has now been able to cover just 2-11 in their last 13 regular season games against the spread. But Reed and Mahomes, backs against the wall. Creatively, I think Andy Reid can really do some things to confuse the Washington defensive backs. We saw how they were on that Hail Mary attempt last week against the Saints. This Washington football team defense currently ranked 27th in opponents' passing yards per game. We know Mahomes will take advantage of that. Ron Rivera has been an underdog with the Washington football team 16 times. They've given this total up 16 or more in the first half, 10 out of those 16 times. I think a good offense going to be able to get points in the first half against this Washington football team.
Whole hard in the trenches, ask a nigga what he benching, triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the